I've got a lot of people over the years who have come and bumped into me or asked me questions, and they're very confused, and they're like, "Well, I don't know what I should be doing now." And when I ask them back, well, what do you really want? Like, what's your main focus? What's the main area you want to put your energy in? Well, I don't know. I said, well, there's your number one. There's your number one thing is you've got to find out what you really want. Like, what is your number one commitment? Because you can't have 10 commitments. You can't be committed to 10 different things. And whatever the commitment is, it doesn't have to be like, I need to know what happens after I die, or I need to exit the matrix, or I need to know what God is. It can be as simple as my number one commitment is to be a good parent. Okay, then if that's your number one commitment, if that's what you feel is the most important thing for you in your world, then you have to make that 50% of where you put your energy. You can't put a whole bunch of being a good parent into 10 other things. You can't, if you want to know what the matrix is, you can't put all that energy into, you know, going bowling and playing golf and getting drunk on the weekend. I mean, you have to put your energy to where the energy goes. So from what you just said, my number one focus is, as an example, probably like yours, is not on this reality. I mean, yes, I'm existing in the reality and I have to navigate what's going on. I'd like to know what might happen and what not happen and have some preparation so I'm not surprised by it. But the majority of my energy is about an alternate reality, or it's about what I call home. It's about the real place that I come from, you might say. And so that is the main focus of my energy. That's the main focus of what I'm doing. And so I I put I put the amount of energy that this particular reality requires from me and no more. I know this amount is needed, this amount needs to go in. If I want to have a fire in the winter, I've got to cut some firewood. If I want to, have dinner, I have to get some out of the fridge, I have to cook it on the stove. But there's a whole lot of other things we can do, or a whole lot of, like you say, other fears and concerns we have about what's going to happen next week, next year, six months from now. And that will just suck the energy out of us for what we need for ultimate commitment. So, for anyone listening, if you don't know what your ultimate commitment is, if you don't know what, that's it. There's your number one task for the next like week or two is just find out what that is. Because once you know what your ultimate task is, your choices become really simple at that point. When I came out of my depression and I realized my focus is ancient Egypt, that I'm going to Egypt at some point in the future. It took me 5 years to get there, but I'm going to there's something on the Giza Plateau and those pyramids of information that I need to know. So my life became a preparation for that, in a sense. Everything I was doing was preparing me for when I was going to make it to Egypt. Even the long trip I took to Mexico to go through Mayan sites, that was also preparation. So it made it very, very easy for me because if any decision then that came up in my life, it was okay. Is saying yes going to help me get closer to what I need to know for my trip to Egypt, or is it just going to take me away from that and waste my time? If the answer was no, it's not going to help me or it's going to waste my time, then I just no, sorry, I'm not interested in that. If it was potentially yes, this could help me, then it was obviously yes, I'm going to do this or go there or talk to this person. And it actually, once you have a driving underlying focus on what you want the most out of being in this experience, it makes your choices from that point so much easier because all you have to do is ask, is this going to take me closer to where I want to go or further away? And just like driving on a road, if you're driving to Paris, one road takes you toward Paris, one road takes you away from it. It becomes really easy. We just drive into Paris. So it's the same thing with your life. But if you don't know the direction you're driving, you don't need to necessarily know the end point per se, but you need to know the direction. And when you've got that direction, actually the rest of your life begins to get easier.